Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Love Human Be Spirit. Today, you get the pleasure of just having Monique and I again. And while we love having guests, we also love the space where it gets to just be the two of us, just the two of
us. Welcome back, everybody. How's everyone doing? We hope everyone's doing well. We're sending so much love. We're excited to be here together, just the two of us, like Amy said. I love how we can hold space for both. Having guests on has been so exciting at this point in our journey with the podcast. And having these episodes where it's just us has been equally as exciting. Yes. And I love that we get to do both. So thanks for listening and tuning in and staying with us on this journey so far. And today we're getting into the energy types.
Yeah, we're excited. We've said from the beginning, our intention is to, share whatever it is that we feel called content-wise to share through our lived experiences. We've said that from day one. And to not be super teachy or preachy, but we keep referring to things from time to time when we get questions. So when we feel called to give, a little more clarity on some of our lived experiences, why not? That's what we get to do. We say this all the time. We get to do this however the fuck we want. So here we are. We're showing up.
Yeah.
And just felt excited to share, these beautiful 5 energy types and how amazing they are independently, and how they can work collectively. Because there's a portion of each of us bumping around in this 3D experience. So we might as well get to know everybody, starting with ourselves first. So I don't know. What are you feeling? What are we going to start with?
Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. I feel like I always want to start with manifestors. I don't know why, but it's just where I always go to first. So let's just do that if that's cool with you.
Why not? So, I get to speak very openly and honestly about this one because this is my energy type. Sometimes people refer to it as aura. So if you hear that, it's kind of the same thing as energy type in the language of human design. And when I first heard this and, from the teachings that I was learning and the podcast that I was taking in, we've shared that we just literally got ourselves entrenched in this stuff. I did not like how it sounded to hear that I was closed and repelling. I was like, what? But I will tell you, there's a reason for that. And I kind of chose to position it more of closed and impactful. And so if I am truly here, my role to play in this 3D experience is to initiate and inform, and with the intention that will create impact. I feel like the closed aura is protection. It's protection so that I can stay on my path and not be so concerned who's in or who's not. You've likely heard me say already, I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. There's probably another manifestor out there who is initiating and creating impact that would be for you then. And then, Monique has she attracts a lot of manifestors in her life. And conversely, I attract a lot of beautiful projectors in my life. So we get to talk about it from both perspectives. So Monique, do you feel like I am repelling and closed?
Only when you want to be.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't get that from any of the manifestors in my life. I mean, I understand it. Knowing the people that I know that are manifestors. I feel like I've seen it play out a lot for the people that I know that are manifestors, like as a projector who sees things in other people's lives. I think that I've seen the dynamic play out a lot for the manifestors that I do know, in terms of people experiencing their aura, maybe in this closed and or repelling way. I also feel intimidating should be thrown in there or something, because and maybe it's just because the manifestor aura is closed and there's this mystery about it because of that. And maybe that's why, but I think that that's something, there's like this level of intimidation I feel like that manifestor energy gives off sometimes to other people. And it's misunderstood energy, really, I think, more than anything else, because, when you think about somebody that you, let's say, look up to or idolize, or, I think often it's because they have a level of self-confidence, or, they're assertive in a way that, that you want to be like them for these reasons of, they're powerful, or they're empowering, or, our idols or they inspire, like they have those same traits that like a manifestor does,
Mhm.
that sometimes can be misconstrued, I think, by the other energy types as threatening or intimidating, or can come off scary because it's not understood. And because it's closed, it's not as easy to catch an energetic read. That's just the bottom line here. It's not, it's very, if you think of, I like to sometimes, for myself, this helps take things to a place of just mechanics with human design in terms of energy, because it takes the personal and the emotional out of it for me. And that for me helps me uh, detach and look at life in different ways, because I can be way too emotionally attached otherwise to all kinds of things, that don't need to really serve me. And I see that, and I appreciate it. And I think that as a projector, I get a little bit more of a sneak peek into maybe manifestors auras, maybe, than some of the other types. That's my personal opinion. And I just have lived it too. I've talked about my best friend who's a manifestor. One of my brothers is, I've seen it very close and personally in my life. And I've also just experienced the real joy in having manifestors near me. And it's just empowering. And I like to picture them as like fires, and they like let these little sparks fly off them, with their ideas and initiations and information. And whoever like catches that spark, it's like, oh, now I'm like lit up like a fire, and I can go like burn some shit down, or whatever the metaphor is you want to
Or
go with
light some
there.
shit
But
up yourself. Yeah.
yeah, there you go. That's better. Whatever. Sometimes manifestors burn shit down. That's a
Yeah, we
fact too.
do. Fuck
You like
yeah.
that. You like that stuff. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, it's very fearless, this energy of like fearlessness. And maybe that's again because of the clothes. And, my aura is almost the opposite in a lot of ways, I feel like, than a manifestor's, because it's, we'll get to that. But it's, for me, it's, I look at it and I'm like in awe a little bit of it. Like, wow. I always like picture, like, if I'm going into like somewhere scary, that is like, I want my manifestor with me, so that I could like go behind them, like walk like right behind them, like, and just kind of use their like aura as like shield, you know, for my softy projector absorbing ass. But I don't know. I find this like real encouraging empowerment. But I could also really understand, especially if you think about people and the insecurities that we all carry around with us as humans, and how we play that off of other people that we come in contact with. And so if a manifestor has this strong energy that's unreadable, and somebody's insecure in themselves for reasons, we as humans will find a way to make that about somebody else around us, real quick.
Yeah.
We're great at that. The mind is great at that. And stories, and, so I really see so much beauty in empowering manifestors to really align, with you. I've gotten to see that, and the impactfulness that can come from that. And it's just so unexpected. Often when manifestor will just be speaking, and it's so, just words coming out of their mouth often. And it's like, you just changed someone's life with like one sentence that you said. When you're brave enough to be that way, all the time, no matter what that's going to do for the other. And that's hard, I'm sure. I don't know what that life experience is. And I admire it. And I think that it should, be looked at like with love, that closed and repelling aura.
God, I just feel so accepted by you. I could just listen to you talk about it all day, but that's not what this episode's for. But I
Thank
appreciate
you.
the perspective that you always offer, because I can tell you, I don't, in my lifetime, I haven't always felt accepted or appreciated or even acknowledged. Probably in some instances, there's probably a lot more judgment, or I'm okay. I've heard all the things that you said. I've heard, God, Amy, you're intimidating or threatening or inspiring. Those and any of them, I, they're all okay with me. And I think the older I get, the more I honor them. It's like you said, it's like me courageously showing up in the way that I, really feel called to anyway. But for a really long time, I was told I was too much. Sometimes that still comes up, depending on whom I'm around. Probably feeling I'm not special, therefore I play smaller, and that's really, really uncomfortable to be honest about, because there's oftentimes, we talk about these urges that we have, and it's just like, I don't care who this is for. I know it is. And I just want to say it or share it or show it or do it or whatever it is. And then there's some conditioning or programming or some external circumstances that, keep you small. And, we all get to work on those. We all get to work on those. And that has definitely been a journey for me. Some of like the hardness, I've heard that, hardness or inability to, play well with others a little bit. And I honor that more than I used to. I used to conform and show up how others how I felt. And in some instances was told how others wanted me to be. Literally the language of don't be like that makes me want to like drive into a tree. I like, don't like that. Don't fucking tell me what to be. It's that controlling, I mean, you guys can't see me, but I'm trying not to clench my fists, it's just, it's so debilitating. That's just the word. And it does create anger to bubble up, which, we're not meant to feel. We've had that episode on the not self. And
I have a something came up when you were talking, and it's making me think like something that I've read about manifestors. And I mean, you don't want to inform for lots of reasons, right? Let's be honest. There's a lot of, we can go about this for a lot of ways. One of them is you don't really see the point. You don't really care what anybody else is doing. So why am I telling you what I'm doing? Right. Type of, a lot of manifestors kind of think like that. Like you're here, you're kind of just want to do what you want to do. And you want everybody else to do that too. And, you right. That's one reason. Or maybe you don't want to inform because you don't want the feedback or the response. Right. And
that's me.
Right. And in the past we've received that. And now, I said to my brother, the one that's a manifestor who doesn't know a lot about design, recently, I was explaining the informing thing. And one of his responses was, oh yeah, talking is risky sometimes. And I started laughing. He's like, 'cause sometimes you start talking and then you don't even realize what the heck is all coming. And you're like, I didn't want all that. So that's another reason. There's a lot of reasons, but I think one of them, and this is around the question I want to ask is, regarding like, you get these urges, right? Which I have to say, as a not manifester, is a thing that I don't fully understand what that feels like a manifestor urge. Like people can't see me. I'm moving my body up every time I say the word urge, but because that's how I picture it. I picture it as this like thing that just needs to come out of your mouth, basically, like you said. And I get it. I don't know what it feels like, but most manifestors that I've discussed with fully resonate with the word urge. It's something that I feel like you guys feel, like it's feelingness in your body. Like I just gotta say this. And like you said, you don't know what it's for, who it's for, or why, but you've learned to lean into trusting that. But I've heard and seen in the experiences I've had with them, manifestors, or maybe just people want to have like a full thought or a full plan. Like, so you get this urge and then you want to, your body and everything in you wants to just say it or do it or whatever. But you're like, I don't even have a plan yet about that. How am I going to like share this bananas idea? Or like, you need a reason. Why? What am I going to do with this idea? Or how am I going to even play this idea out? I need to like first get it together and then I'll tell the people around me. I feel like there's that conditioning, that's been taught.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
100%. And
do you feel that?
Likely because you exercised it sometime in your life, because just intuitively you felt called to do that. and then external conditioning told you that that was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So then you don't want to do it anymore. So then you try to strategize and make sense of all the ways that you can express your urge, but then have the evidence or the research or the steps or the blah, blah, blah. And that's, we're getting out of our lane. I'm taking over somebody else's or role. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, yeah, it's really interesting for me to think about it like that for the manifestors, because I just feel like as human condition, we want to have like, you know, all the things before we talk about our things. Like we're very scared to talk about just our ideas or just these like feelings maybe that we have. And we want reasons, right? Is a lot of it like you want a reason, like why you have this urge or this idea or like this, like what is that even going to do for me if I even make that urge play out? That doesn't even, like, I don't know, that's not going to make me money, or I don't know, get me for, I don't know, but it's still there. So it's there for a reason.
We don't
right?
even
You don't
think about, from my perspective and the manifestors in my life that I know, we don't think about what's this going to do. We don't think about the next step. We don't even typically see the impact. It's somebody else responding that helps us see, or you beautiful projectors who share with us that, you know, or even a reflector was reflecting it back, right? Like everybody can, but it's not like I have this urge or this idea or this, you know, desire to share something because I then see what that's going to do. That like there's that totally dilutes it. I don't even want to take those steps. I'm just ready to share it. And here's a Cliff Notes
do you think
example.
that you did?
Yeah. And then I was shut the hell down. Yeah. Here's a perfect example. My son, you know, just finished his junior year in college, and in one of his classes, he had an urge. And so he's a manifester. He spoke to it. And of course, he was shut down because he didn't have evidence. He didn't have the next steps. He didn't have everything lined up. And so he, you know, he called me and he's like, this is like, why do I bother type of thing, right? And I'm like, but that's the way the system, I don't ever want you to shut that down. I invited him to say, well, that part's not my role. I haven't thought that part through, but this was, you know, something. And what he came up was freaking brilliant. I'm sure. This is where like the society shuts us down. Yeah, that's a great example. Then we go and we're like, oh, I got to use my detail and my blah, blah, blah. And no. We're actually getting out of our lane and diluting the power that somebody other energy type has. So, and we could talk about this for another hour and a half. I know, but I want to say two more things though about manifestors, because one is something I heard a manifestor speaking on recently, and it was about them enjoying being initiated as well. The manifestor was like, I don't necessarily want to be boxed into this place where I'm the only one that can initiate in my life. I want people in my life that are willing to still, you know, invite me on things, or, you know, if I don't want to be the one that's always like, hey, can I go on your podcast, or like things like this like feeling of always having to initiate. Or fine if you always have to initiate, but like you want that too. You want to feel the fire, the sparks too. And if we get too boxed into this idea of like manifestors are here to, you know, initiate an impact, they're the ones like, and then we get too, like, we're just going backwards, right? We're not taking this 100%. Information for what it is. We're going back into these boxes where it's like, I'm the projector. I'll just wait until, you know, Amy will always initiate me. It's like, no, Amy wants me to sometimes bring information to her. So much. And then that also encourages, I think, the manifestor to want to give information back, right? When we're giving openly to you, it's got to make you feel better to give back also to that person, 100%. Right? Yes. And it has to feel really safe for us. And you make it feel really safe for me. But I will tell you, there are instances where it doesn't feel safe. You know? I'm sure. I really like the example that you gave of your son in the school setting, because I could see that so easily playing out. And it, again, it's not really anybody's fault. You know, that professor is,
trying to keep his class going or whatever and on schedule. I don't know, like the way that things have always been taught. But the beauty is that your son has a mom like you who's raising him in his design. So he gets to hear what you said to him. Don't ever shut that down. Right. You keep doing that because what you said is true. You are just here to do the urges. Just say them. And then
let me tell you,
then let other people figure it out. Yeah.
And then he says, I don't know, I haven't gotten to that part. Mm-hmm. It's the mic drop. It's like, nope, I don't have to do that much,
Yeah.
And let that be enough. Because let me tell you, when you allow yourself to do it that boldly, people do just go, okay, that's fair. And then they move on.
Yeah.
I'm not having him have that shut down.
Yeah, no, that's great. And that's how things are changing, right? That's how we're shifting societally in ways like that. Exactly. Enough manifestors start showing up in classrooms and expressing their urges like that. Eventually the classroom, dynamic is going to change. One of those urges said out loud is going to change. Gosh, I could think of so many examples, but Jeannie changes systems all the time. She doesn't even realize it, but by her making a phone call, she did this once. She made a phone call to a doctor's office about something like they didn't have a system in place of information that she wanted. It was really hard for her to get. She had to go through 50, and she just called the office. She's like, listen, there should just be something in place. I feel like where this is just easier to get this information. If you guys just had this, it would save you a bunch of phone. I don't know what she said. She said whatever she said, and literally just called them to tell them that. Listen, I just feel, and they, guess what? They now have systems in place to get that info to the people. And it just streamlined the process for the whole fucking office. She's not even involved with these people, but this is the ways that you just have to express and be bold enough to really listen to your body and do that. And love yourself enough, I think too, to show up like that. And trust that the rest is not, I don't need to get in that lane. That's it. Yeah. Just here to make the phone call and let you, here's what I'm thinking. Yeah. And I love when Amy approaches things like that with me. She's like, I have this idea, thinking about this thing, and she'll tell it to me. And then I get all kinds of sparks, I'm like, oh, I love that, this, that, the other, blah, 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 all kinds of stuff starts coming out. That's the whole idea here. Oh, I just remembered the one other thing I want to mention about manifestors is that you're not sacral beings. And I mean, obviously we know that and we've said that, and maybe the people know that. I don't know, but I feel like because you are it's pretty clear that projectors and reflectors aren't sacral beings. There's the way that it's described and the way that our strategies go, but manifestors, you're tricky, I mean, I look at Jeannie and I'm like, that bitch has a sacral sometimes. There's your schedule sometimes. I'm like, Amy, what the fuck are you doing? How are you doing this many things in a day? So that to a projector, to another non-sacral, comes off to me I couldn't do that. I know I couldn't do that much stuff in a day. I know that. I've always known that. Now the only difference is I don't make myself feel bad anymore about it. Like I did for years, but I've always known that I can't move like that. And it is fast. Manifestors are fast. And so when you see a manifestor and a man gen, there might look like similarities, I think, to as an outside type of both of those types. I can see that. I can see manifestors being received, looking on the surface, and then your closed aura, I can't catch a read also, but you've got to be a man gen. There's no way you can be getting this, but you are non-sacral beings. And I think that's something that we need to remind people about manifestors too, because y'all need to check out too, right? Yeah. You need those rest periods, is what they're called, right?
Yep. And I have been building those in more and more. I mean, you would have never before caught me taking 20 in the middle of a day just to say, tap out or even what, and I am honoring that more and more because why not?
And the idea is, well, yeah. And guess what happens, manifestors, when you are honoring those rests for yourself? And I know it's hard, manifestor. I know it is. Trust me. I see you. I see you guys wanting to move and do all your ideas and say all the things. And, but when you give yourself that rest period, however that looks for you, because it can look different. way different. Maybe, your rest periods are short, maybe yours are long. I don't know, right? Every human's different, but those breaks and however you get to unplug, disconnect, whatever you want to say from your go fucking get everything done, like fast energy, is where you get space for those other urges to brew, right?
100%.
Like I heard a manifestor saying it the other day, how she could feel something percolating.
Yes.
Right. And how that's why sometimes she needs to pull back, even though
Yes.
she wants to keep going
Yes.
and doing more things. She knows now, learning design stuff, that she needs to slow down a little bit and take maybe a rest period here, because something else is brewing. And if you don't take that, then you're not going to, that urge might not show up. It might just, I don't know, not brew all the way. I don't know how that works.
That's how it feels. It feels like, because I'm literally in the midst of that right now. And I've told you this every day this week. I felt so tired and it pisses me off. And I'm trying to just love it and honor the wisdom that my body is offering me. But I've also been having this urge to put something together. I have kind of something that I'm working on. And it's like, oh, I see why I'm not going to quote unquote push through. That's my old languaging. Fuck that noise. That is a no. And it's because it hasn't completely percolated, right? It hasn't filled its way out. And so I think, this is only my experience, that's what I get to offer, that if I don't allow myself that spaciousness, then who it's meant to land for, it won't, because I haven't given it the time to allow it to come to its fullest fruition so that then I can share it. And there have been times in my life where I'm like, I've got the urge and I just want to jump on it, and it didn't land. And now I also have emotional authority. So I'm letting all of those things brew together. And I mean, I'm still in my experiment. I'm going to be in it forever. And so TBD on how it all unfolds, but you literally, are expressing something that I'm experiencing right now. And it's super cool that that's awesome, letting myself navigate it differently than I have in the past. Because even in 2020, when I learned about this at the end of 19 and started headfirst in it in January of 20. And even in 20, I was like, got an idea, act on it. And I have some evidence that it worked, but if I probably would have let it vet out a little more, I see that now. I'm a 3, right? I'm going to fucking bounce around. But yeah. I mean, so yes.
Yeah. I love that. And I just, I think that it's so much about timing. A lot of this strategizing, a lot of this using our strategy and authority is about the working with timing of life, I feel like, and the timing of the things. And when we are out of alignment, I think we're pushing through, right? Or we're powering and we're missing that timing, that perfect timing, that we could have if we weren't, if we're giving ourselves that time to rest, you know what I mean? Instead of pushing through, we're missing, like you said, maybe you missed that opportunity to say that urge in that one right moment where it would have changed the fucking world. Who knows,
Right.
But okay, let's move on. We're so bad at this.
I know, literally, you guys, Monique, before we started, we're like, okay, there's 5 energy types. If we try to spend 10 minutes on each one, we're 25 fucking minutes in.
Haven't moved on from one. I knew this would happen. Spleen knew it, I guess.
I know.
Amy's like, no, it's fine. It'll be fine. Okay, let's go to projectors.
Of course.
Let's just do that.
Yeah.
Right? Get our mouthfuls out of the way now. And let's talk about projectors. So I did mention that our auras are almost the opposite of the manifestors. And I don't know whether that's true or not. But when I said that, what I was thinking about was, when I think manifestors closed aura is in terms of mine, I've often used the word penetrating in this podcast, and you hear that a lot for projectors, and I like it. It sits fine with me. I get that about myself, and I think it's a good word to energetically express how it could feel sometimes with the projector, and that can be good or bad, right? Maybe we like to be penetrated, maybe we don't in that moment. And but the other word that also was about how absorbing our aura is, and this is something that I started to think about just the other day, like the juxtaposition of both. The projector's aura is so inside of the other, right? We're so in there and really like getting in all the stuff that you might not even be ready to see about yourself yet, right? And at the same time, we are taking in that same deep way. So if you think about that, the way that energetically my aura is absorbing energy of the people around me and the places around me, it's really the opposite of yours, is how it makes me think about it. You're unaffected maybe in such a way where I am deeply disproportionately almost affected, right, with some of these experiences or people, maybe, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
100% it makes sense. And my heart goes out to you, because where I have this protective coating, it's like your shield is off. And so you've got to learn how to create that protection for yourself. Or, I love to use the word boundaries here, but I wonder if, and I'm not the one who created this, so I didn't get to talk to Ra to ask exactly how that all, unraveled. But I wonder if it is so you can see and be that, like guide, auditor, whatever it is that we want to refer to it as. I want to call it something way more just amazing and delicious than that. But you just have this beautiful energy about seeing, because you do it with me. You see things that I'm just like, and then you share them with me that I'm just like, wow. And from such a non-judgmental place. And I'll tell you, I have more projectors in my life than I have anything else. And you're all very non-judgmental. And so while God love you guys having the ability to see into everything, maybe the protective coating for you is that you see it without judgment. And so then when you share the, brilliance and wisdom you have of how we might improve, and it's improvement from the quality of to, affect and impact everyone. It's just, think of the leader that has the manifestor aura versus the leader that has the projector aura. It's like, you're sitting right beside me. You're like holding my hand. You're like saying it from such a place of, I just keep coming back to non-judgment, because the world is so full of judgment, and the insights that you have and the ability you have to be the way shower is just, I'm in awe of it. I'm just in complete awe of it. And I mean, I'm grateful that I have I'm surrounded by so many, because I think I lived a life full of a lot of judgment. And now you give me the space to even release that for myself so much. So while I don't know what it feels like to have that penetrating, like that, seeing into things so much, what I see from you is seeing into it from a non-judgmental place gives you that beautiful authority to guide and way show. And I feel just in full trust of it versus, hey, what's your agenda here? I don't feel that way with the projector ever.
Right. I think you're touching on something really cool. And thank you, because everything you said just made me feel so good. But I appreciate being seen like that so much. I can't tell you how much that matters. I never really even realized how much that mattered to me. Projectors out there, get some people in your lives that fucking see you. That's my best advice to you, because I can't tell you what it's done for me. Like, literally, I'm crying again, but like having people really see me, like just even in what you just said, is everything. It makes, it's so different than, I can't express how different it feels to be seen for those things that you just named versus like the things that I've been, I don't know, told. I wish I could think of an example right now, but I'm getting emotional. So, but I think that you're touching on something really interesting, because what you're saying, and you always say this, right, about this level of non-judgment, and what you're saying now, I wonder if it is around, since we can see so deeply into all the people that we choose to, right, and in our experiences, how could we possibly judge, right? Like I've seen I don't know. I've seen the insides, let's say, of everybody I've ever encountered. Like, right? If that's how my aura works. I've been, and I don't know if that's for every projector. I don't know if they feel like that. We always talk about this from our own perspective. And for me, though, I kind of have always had this sentiment of like, how could I judge? Because I think though, too, the flip is that I feel like um people must see all those things about me too that I'm seeing in them. And maybe,
Oh,
so maybe they are, maybe they're not, but the experience that I'm having is that I'm seeing all these things about you. And if you're seeing all those things about me, I would hate for you to call me out on one and make me feel bad about it, because I know that I've got things inside of me, like we all do, that we might not necessarily want to share with them, or be, be called out about, or be put, on the spot for, or be judged on. And for me, one of the things that will, I mean, it will fuck up a relationship really quickly for me, is if I feel like the person beside me is judging me
yeah.
in a way that is unfair. Because how could you possibly know what I am feeling right now and why I'm doing the thing? How could you know that? You couldn't. And so for me to assume like I could pass judgment on someone else is absurd. How could I possibly know what your experience is? I don't know. That's always been very clear to me. And I have to say, I have a very non-judgmental mother when it comes to like in how I was loved, and father. I mean, of course, everybody passes judgment. We all have their ways. And I could see ways my mom can be judgy, but never in the way that she loved. And I do think that was part of the example too. It was always very clear to me that if you were going to love somebody, you don't get to judge them. Not if you're really here to love them, like unconditionally. Not if you want that back. Sorry, that's not how that works. Like if I'm expecting somebody to love me with no conditions and no judgment, then I have to give that back. How else could I possibly expect to receive that? And I think that what you brought up is something to note, because maybe that's why the experience, it feels maybe profoundly deeper sometimes for projectors, or more intense, or we are maybe literally experiencing it more deeply inside, or I don't know. It's something to think about. That level of depth of perception, I think, is maybe what it is around what we're talking about, right?
God, I'm just blown away with everything that you just said. And I didn't think that I could love you more, but I already do. And I literally didn't. And um, I that just struck such a good nerve with me, that because you can see into us, why would you even judge? Because you assume that we can see into you, which PS we can't.
Right.
But that's why you're the guide. That's why you're the way shower. That's why, but yet you're so brilliant. Oh my God. I need to process all that. I'm gonna have to listen to this several times. And
I love when Amy holds her head. That's what she's doing right now, you guys. Whenever she's like really having like some things happening in the processing in there, she's holds her head, and I love when she does that.
because every projector that I get the gift of experiencing, and remember, you guys, we love all energy types. So, I don't want anybody out there going, womp womp, I don't want that. But there is such a level of depth with projectors. And you just showed me a way that it's even deeper than I even knew. And that's got to be a lot to carry. That's got to be a lot to carry.
I think it is. And I think that, where that's why I said, I think you're touching, you made me think about this in a new way. And yeah, it is a lot to carry. And I think that that's, again, why this information was so freeing and liberating for me. It really was like I got lighter. Like I got lighter in my body, my shoulders, my insides felt lighter. like my existence, like walking around doing the thing felt lighter because now I know that I need to one budget my energy and where I put it. The focus of my energy matters so much.
Mm-hmm.
And because whatever I'm putting it on, I'm also taking it. And
Yeah.
it goes both ways. And so I don't think I ever fully realized how much I always have said this about myself, that I've had like boundary issues. Like I could never really tell where I ended and my partner began.
Yeah.
That line was always very blurry for me. It was blurry for me. It's blurry for me with my friendships. Always, I was always a girl that had a best friend, you know, and that made me feel secure. I don't know, that like the needing of the other is a thing for projectors. That's a thing too, which again, I got to tell you, if you're hearing this and this sounds not empowering, please do not hear it like that. Because when I say that the needing of the other is a thing for projectors, we are energy masters, really, when we start to really understand how we can see, right? We are here to basically guide, like you said, but the reason we could do this is because we can see the most efficient way for energy to work in a room, in a group, in a situation. There's an efficiency to how projectors can use their energy and focus their energy and exchange it, right? But if you don't know that and you're a projector, you're just out here all willy-nilly, like, doing the exchange, taking in, blah, 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 blah. You have no idea who the fuck you are anymore. It was my experience. No idea who the fuck you are. You have penetrated and absorbed your way through life. And between that and your aura's design and the conditioning we experience societally, I mean, it's a shit show to really fucking uncover who you are at that point if you don't know what your energy's doing. And like, that's why it was just so liberating for me to understand, when I started learning the projectness, it didn't just land because, I don't know, I mean, it landed because, well, God, shit, that makes a lot more sense for me
Yeah.
to do it that way. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it make a lot more sense for me to, my favorite words these days are energy budget, and really pick and choose where I focus that penetrating aura and what I'm absorbing in, knowing how that works for me, and projectors, again, we're designed, if you think about a projector, right? Like the actual tangible object of a projector, not the human design word, like a projector that pops the screen on the whatever. It's a spotlight energy, right? We have this spotlight. We are meant to be seen and recognized. We're meant to have a spotlight on us, but we're not designed in a way that allows us to feel comfortable always stepping into that spotlight.
Yeah.
Being seen is the really scary part for a projector, probably because of the same reasons that you mentioned in your manifestor example, because we've shown ourselves, really bared our fucking selves somewhere and got shut down or got destroyed about it. And then I don't know if this is me. I have a lot of stuff in my chart that's, I'm innocence, motivation. I have that gate 25 and it's like, a vessel of love. But there's this level of like, I can't understand sometimes how people could do the things they do or act the way they act or have the agendas they have on things. Like I cannot understand it. It does not compute. I've never ever thought to strategize in that way to like get what I want. Well, right. But also I've never had to, because projectors, you don't have to. You're meant to be seen. And like, so when you align with the right people in the right environments and allow yourself to be seen there, it just shows up. You're meant to be given the things to show up, the invitations. There's a reason why our strategy is an invitation. It's, just put yourself, my encouragement to you is to really think about how you like to see people, how you like people to see you, and then find those people, find those places, and get really seen like that. Feel what that feels like, and what it feels like to give back your projector, pokey, absorbing energy to that energy, what you get back from that, and then just start seeing what comes up. Because using our energy like this is beautiful, you guys. It's beautiful. It's easier than the alternative. For me, it has been. And that was a long rant, but it was necessary.
It was so good though. And it was so necessary for all you projectors out there. And I'm just thinking of, parents that have projectors. I mean, thank God Mia has you, Monique, because you're gonna see for her what you see for yourself so much. And that, I've had the luxury of talking to some parents like your mom's a generator, and some generator moms or parents out there that have projector kiddos. And I'm like, whoa. This is very, very different. I mean, projectors are non-sacral as well, but boy, you're programmed to show up with it just like I am. And the depth with which you feel is so different than the other energy types, for real.
Thank you for naming that. Thank you for naming that. And thank you for saying that about my daughter, Mia, because I do think about that. And I'm grateful for that. And especially because, again, I'm going to go back to the reason why this info, again, is so important. Not just to, I get that everybody wants to understand themselves, and that is where we should all start. But it has also, I can see it already happening, kind of like gives my child this ability to understand that not everybody is going to see her or the things the same way as she does.
Right.
And that may sound kind of whatever, like obviously we all see things differently, but I got to tell you, there is I didn't know this because I assumed that everybody saw this. Just like you assumed probably everybody had these urge idea things. I don't know. We assume that people feel the way we feel. And I assumed that everybody saw the things I saw. And I'm learning that they don't. There has been interactions that I witness all day, every day, that the other energy types around me don't see. They're not even seeing these exchanges. They're not even seeing them. And that's bananas for me to think about, because I just like, well, that's like clear as day to me to see how that person reacted back to that thing or whatever. I don't even process all of the things I'm actually seeing, because that's life as a projector. That's how you're seeing everything. And understanding that not everybody has that. That's not everybody's way. Has taken, like, I don't know. My daughter what I see right now from her is her not having the same expectations of other people around her as maybe I have had. In experiences and exchanges, even in friendships, in something as simple as friendships, even little kid friendships, she understands that my daughter's always understood how to share. That was never a thing I had to teach her. It always made sense for her to share. And like, you could say, oh, she's a sweet kid, or, and she is. She's absolutely a kind, sweet soul. But I think, she's been able to see people her whole life. She can see inside everyone she's around, every other kid that she interacts with. She can see them clear as day. Yeah. And they maybe can't do that with her. And that's why, man gens maybe need to be taught to share more. I don't know. I just picked man gens. I love man gens. You all know I want to be you in my next life. So whatever, I can say that. But, I'm just saying there's a level of understanding that that's it. She gets that, like, if her best friend is a different type than her, she maybe is not going to see her in the same way that she sees her. And that's going to be okay. Yeah. And, and because the other types have their other gifts too. But I think that it's really cool that we got into how you said that's it's a heavier place to be, I think, sometimes as a projector. And we may not realize that.
A lot to carry. Yeah. A lot to carry. That's what I'm thinking.
And I think, maybe that's something that we don't realize, or that we don't realize that everybody's not doing that.
Right.
Because I feel like that's something both of my parents something that I know that I've always felt in some way. And again, I have amazing parents. They always gave me this feeling of like, why are you letting it matter so much? Like, just my mom is queen of like, don't worry about what they think. Like, she just don't let it bother you. If you don't like that person, don't focus on that person. Just focus over here. Like, these simple, like, my dad, like, why are you letting yourself get so sad? Or like, why is it affecting you so much? Like for so long or whatever it was. This feeling of like, and not in a bad way, just like they couldn't understand like why I couldn't
Mm.
just shift my focus, like my mom can't because she's a generator
Yeah.
or, I just think that it's different. I
Yeah.
think that there's a difference in how the experiences are affecting me is how I'm seeing it now. I wasn't just over dramatically affected. Maybe I really was more deeply affected because of how my energy is designed.
Yeah. And
And
all of it. Yeah. All of
and
that
it's
in
all
your
fine.
chart. Yeah. All of that in your chart for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
I'm thinking, we can just cut this out too, but I'm thinking maybe we just make this episode about manifestors and projectors.
That's what I'm thinking too.
And then we do an episode on the types we're not,
Yeah.
right?
That's what I'm
That's
thinking.
cool.
Yeah.
We'll do energy types. We'll do manifestors and projectors. First two energy types we're getting into. And then we'll do, the other three, the ones
Yeah.
we're not. I think that's fair. I
Okay.
knew this would happen.
But I just think, but we don't want to edit it, Moni, because it's so
No way.
good.
No,
Yeah.
this is good. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, we can keep on. We're 50, so we're about wrapping up. So
Yeah.
let's say a few things right now to
Do we
wrap
want
up
to
both
clarify,
types.
hey, here we are, 50 minutes into the episode, we're trying, or do we just say, hey, we just
No,
feel really called at this point, we're gonna, because
I
we,
don't even think we have to say that. I think
okay.
that maybe we can just right now, let's do a little wrap up on both manifestors and projectors. And then let's pause. And then let's do an intro that says, today we're getting into the two types we are, and da 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 da, as if, and then we'll have both options. And when I edit, I can play around with parts.
Okay.
And I don't think we need to explain this to them. This is our back end at this point,
Okay.
we'll just, does that feel good? What do
Yeah.
you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So to wrap up my long projector rant here, because it was just, I feel like it's really special how we got into some of this part of the auric design. This is why recognition and waiting for the invitation is such a protection built-in thing. That's the protection for us, for
Yes.
projectors, I think.
Yes.
Maybe it's not built into our aura, but what is our ability to choose our focus and our ability to truly wait for the aligned invitations to show up for us and not settling for the invitations. This is good. This is good enough. I feel good about this, and talking ourselves into these things that we can see, guys. That's our thing. We can see. So if we're seeing that this is not the thing, it's probably not the thing, projector.
Right.
Like, trust that you can align yourself to aligned supportive invitations for your projector design. If you really start to choose and pick where you focus your energy, where you budget your energy. Think about it like money. If I don't know, that was helpful for me.
And knowing your audience.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's such a big piece of it for you beautiful people, because if you're not engaged with the audience, the aligned audience, it's going to fall on deaf ears.
100%. Yes. Yeah. And that's again about timing, like we said, supportive timing in terms of the process, for us. In my case, I'm a splenic projector. So I'm kind of, meant to move quickly, maybe, I have right arrows. I'm a little more fluid, right? But, a mental projector or an emotional projector, you take your time. I don't know, take your time and move and if you have, if you're quad left or you have a lot of left, take your time. I don't know, but understanding that, we've talked about this too. There's a lot of different types of projectors, and just like, there are different types of manifestors. We're all going to experience this in different ways. And we're here to offer you ways that it's played out for us, and
Yes.
hopefully you can pull from that and see parts of yourselves in hopefully some of the storytelling, and or maybe people and understand them better. I think that, again, we always go back to that level of understanding and compassion for the other that arises when we start to really get into some of this stuff. It's fucking beautiful. It's just my favorite thing.
Yes, because everything that we've shared, and today in this episode, we've talked exclusively about our two energy types, right? Because that's our biggest lived experience. But now we're inviting you to take what lands and have your own experiment. If that's, because you are going to take little nuggets and then you're going to test them out for yourself. Or if you have this energy type in your life, it's like helping you see them a little more into what their life experience is, because we're, just like we've said in another episode, it's the compassion that you offer with having that information and that intelligence, for sure.
Yeah. And I invite people, pick one thing we said, maybe talked about, or one example that you could like, and choose one person in your life, or choose yourself, whatever works better for you, and just play around with that one thing that we said, and see if that does anything for you. See if it eases up. See if if you're a projector, see if you feel lighter, like I described. If you're a manifestor like Amy, see if that allows you to.
It does. I felt just a ton of peace, and I feel like I've softened into loving all the parts of me. And isn't that what we say all the time? Love yourself. Because if you love yourself first, how you love everything else, and the ripple effect that it has is, God, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And I think just the more that you understand how your closed and repelling aura works, and the more that you lean into that and start showing up with faith and trust in that, the more that everybody around you starts to get it, the more that they can see you and understand you, right? With that closed and aura, if you're willing to share more and be more exposed or vulnerable with your voice, if you're a manifestor, then guess what? You're being seen more and understood more by the other. And, and you're doing your strategy at the same time you're informing, all in one, two birds, one stone, all the things are happening, and we're meant to work in harmony. And like you used a good word, you said softened. And I feel like that's a beautiful word, because I feel like I have softened as well by learning this information and allowing myself. I know that I have calmed down. I know that people in my life would just say that about me. I was super high strung and really just, and of course that comes with unalignment and not self stuff and things of that nature. But a big part of that was this level of understanding how my aura is different than the others.
Yeah.
And that alone has just allowed me to fucking relax a little bit. Like, okay, I get it now. I get it. I don't have to like hold on to these things that I thought that they were seeing it the same way. So like, obviously I was getting bitter about it, but no, they just didn't see it. And I never said it. So how could I possibly sit here, and that's just one way that I think of that. But yeah, that's the whole idea here. Let's work harmonically.
Yeah. The last invitation I would offer, and this goes for any energy type, but I'll tell you specifically about something that I've done. We talk about the level of acceptance that we have when we learn our designs. And so when someone challenges me, and, I shared earlier that I felt a lot of judgment in my life. When someone challenges me or says, shame on you, oh, that makes me just want to croak, or just, languaging like that, I'll actually say, I love who I am, and not say another thing. Because my invitation is, I want everybody to feel that way. I want everyone. And that's been a long road and a lot of work for me to get there, but it is my truth. And that is me honoring and accepting and aligning myself to my beautiful design. And that's what I would, that's the space I hold for everyone that's on their journey with this too, that they'll get to that place. If you're not there yet, that just, I love who I am. Because let me tell you, it is a showstopper for the person on the other end.
Girl, yeah. I love that, Amy. And this is why you and I found each other, because that is what I want for everyone too. I want everyone to be able to say that. I
Yeah.
love who I
And mean
am
it, right?
and mean it and
Yeah.
mean it.
Yeah.
And I'm, we're still in that process, but yeah, man, I could say those words in a way that I couldn't.
Me
Um,
too. And it
and
feels
I,
good to say it.
if, yeah. And
It's not catty, it's not
mm,
snarky. It's just like when I say it, I'm at peace, it's
mhm,
like I don't feel the effect of the harshness that was being, spewed upon me in that moment because I love who I
mhm.
am,
Yeah. And this is not from a cocky, like, I'm the shit, like I'm the best, like type of energy. This is just like I am at peace with who I am. I'm in acceptance and love. I'm like in love with who I am.
Yeah.
That's what I said about this year. I just wanted to fall in love with myself
Yeah.
again.
Yep.
Is something that I really was striving for in my life because I have spent a lot of years falling in love with other people. I'm really great at it. I'm vessel of love, guys. I love love, and I didn't realize I didn't even know myself well enough to love myself the way that I had been in love with
Yeah.
others. And, that's very projector of me. But again, that's another way that I took back my powers of focusing your energy on yourself as a projector is mind blowingly powerful
Yeah.
because you would be surprised how much energy we are putting in our external relationships and not even realizing it.
Oh,
We just don't realize it.
yeah.
We don't realize it. It's how we learn. So we do it. And
Yeah.
we feel good. We feel good with the other and learning and exploring that. And then we're like, we're lost and we're like, who, but what? Wait.
Mhm.
And then, oh gosh, anyways, let's not get all back into it. But I
I
just
trust,
love.
I trust that whatever it is that we shared today, Monique, and only covering our two, whoever's meant to hear it will, and it's going to have the impact that we held the intention for. I just trust that. I trust that every
Me
time.
too.
Even
Me
if we
too.
never know, that's what I say to myself every time I go to share and initiate and inform. It's
Mhm.
okay if I never know. I just trust if it
Mhm.
touches one person, that's always enough.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's beautiful. And I love that too. I always think about that. If one person hears one thing I said throughout my day that like makes their life a little better that day, then I'm winning. I feel
Yeah.
successful. That's when I feel my signature. I do. It could be one person and it's often the littlest things. And so I love that part too. Sometimes it's these little things that we can say we don't even realize that's happened to me. People have come back to me and said something like, gosh, you told me this weeks ago. It's happened at my bar job sometimes. You said this thing to me weeks ago and, it really stuck with me. And, I never thought of it that way or something like that. And it's like, wow, like, I mean, man, if I gave you 1 ounce of self empowerment or self acceptance or self love through one sharing of my experience, then I'm golden. That's what I'm here to do,
Well, of course it's going to pour out of you because you feel that way about yourself. We don't
Mm.
realize that impact that has starts with us.
Yeah. Yeah. I fully trust what you said too. Everything, and it makes sense that we got all into our energy types as deep as we did because it's our lived experiences
Very much
from,
so.
from where other place could we better speak on than this
I
place.
know.
This is the most, this is the most general information about, I would say about the chart, right? Is our type. It's like the biggest, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is the top of the base, whatever,
Yeah.
like the top of the box. I don't know, whatever. You guys get what I'm saying. And it's it's a great place to start and
It's so important
explore.
to understand
Mm-hmm.
this one piece before you go
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out all the other pieces. It's so important. So
Yeah.
take this
So
in. We're going to
yeah.
definitely cover the other three in another episode. We just felt called to do it from the place that we both sit. And then we saw as we were getting into it, it unfolds like it's meant to. So
Always does.
yeah,
Always does.
yeah.
And I'm grateful, Amy, for your manifestor self. And I'm so proud to see you step into your beautiful boldness and your impact and initiation on my life already has done so much. So, we know it's working.
Thank you for that. And I am just forever grateful as I tell you, I'm pretty sure every day. And if I've missed a day, I'll make up for it tomorrow, but you're the way that you see me and the safety that I feel, that you're just one of those people that I have just fully allowed to see into me. And that's just such a beautiful gift, because for a long time I had a pretty tough exterior where I wasn't letting anybody in. So, I feel more empowered to be unapologetically who I am because of my relationship with you. So please continue letting your light in that penetrating aura, shine with the world, because we need it. We need it big time.
Thank you for that. I receive all of that. And I love how you see me too. I tell you that all the time. It means so much. It means so much. So if you are a projector or a manifester, or if you love a projector or a manifester, or if you have a child or any of those things, please know that we shared from this place of real personal self-expression, in the hopes that you take that into your own life and your loved ones, and play with that information, and see if your relationships don't grow in beautiful ways.
And they will. They really will. Thank you. Thank you for sticking with us for another, lengthy episode, but it's so important that we share. So we appreciate you being a part of this community with us, and we'll be back with another episode on the other 3.
Yes. Thank you all for listening and staying with us. And until the next one.
Yep. Bye for now.
Bye. Okay. Wait, don't stop it. Did you stop it?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. Now let's play around and do another intro.
Okay.
As if we were just starting this episode today and it was just going to be about 2 types.
Okay.
And then we'll have both. And like I said, I can spice around and play around with it.
Okay. So I can just say where I said you're the one who said that we're going to discuss energy types. I said, welcome back. So you're the one who said we're going to discuss energy types. Do you just want to say a line and then slide that one in?
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, good idea. So, all right. So you said, welcome back, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So thanks for coming back and listening and joining us again. Today, we're going to be getting into 2 of the energy types. We're going to obviously start with our own energy types, because where else would we start on this energy type episode journey? So today we're going to talk about Amy's type, the manifestor auric design energy type, and my type, the projector aura and energetic design type. And we're going to just see what comes up. We're going to talk about, we're going to obviously let Amy speak on being a manifestor, and we're going to let me speak on being a projector. And we're going to let us also speak on the other side, because we've both been gifted with the other types in our lives closely. I have a lot of manifestors, right? Amy, you have a lot of projectors. So yeah, we're gonna get into some themes and lived experiences revolving our energetic designs, and we're going to discuss manifestors and projectors, all things manifestors and projectors today, and see what comes up. Does that feel good?
Feels great.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's get into it then. Good. Yeah. That's good.
And you can play around with it. And again,
totally.
If it doesn't feel right, you've also edited right in. So you can do that yourself. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. That's what I was just, as we were deciding to change where we're going, I was realizing that is we can just upload this whole audio.
Do you want me to stop recording? We're done recording, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.